not every trip goes to plan. This one started well enough. I was in central Arizona heading north towards Flagstaff with my son. With the exception of one small trim piece, my 22 Tundra with 65,000 miles has been flawless, and there has been no hint of a problem. So we're enjoying the drive as we slowly climbed in elevation and made our way further and further from civilization. The views of the desert brush-covered mountains around us were beautiful, although they may have been spoiled a little by the large power lines that we kept crossing under. I can't complain too much though, because there's a good chance that this road was made to build and service the power lines, and without them, I wouldn't even be driving through the area. I've been really enjoying this route so far. It's been really pretty the entire way, but today has been pretty cool because of the way it's changed so much as we've climbed up into the hills here. It started off with all those the saguaro cacti all around us. And it's slowly transformed into kind of like scrubby desert, and then you had those bushes, and now as we've climbed even more, we're starting to make our way into the trees. Almost taken out by two side-by-sides just now. They both came around a corner going really fast. Yeah, and both of them got sideways trying to avoid me when they slammed on the brakes. So I'm a little more cautious now. I mean, I was going slow anyway, but I turned on my bright lights, my amber lights on the front, just in case the bright blue truck doesn't stand out enough. Unfortunately, I don't think the dash cam managed to capture much because the mirror that I've got on here at the moment as a dash cam is a little too high up. I need to extend it down so that it's not just recording the front of the mount. One of the best things about switching from the Habitat to the AuCab is I have an awning again. It's so nice just to be able to set up something like that and have shade to eat lunch in. I was backing out of the spot where we stopped for lunch, and as I was turning the corner and the front end flexed a little bit, I heard a pop. And when I started driving forward, the steering was really loose. It just didn't feel right. So I pulled over and taken a look, and it's not right. So I put Mickey Mouse Clubhouse on for the little guy to keep him happy, left the engine running with air conditioning, and got on to take a look at this. I tapped it and it fell out. I think I got pretty lucky that it didn't fall out at some other point without me noticing, because the steering issues was very subtle, and it would be bad to be missing this. I'd had the axle replaced by a friend the morning that I left for this trip, and later found out that in his haste to get it done in time for me to leave, he'd tightened it in ugga-duggas rather than to a torque spec. With the vibrations of the trail, it had slowly been working its way out. Unfortunately, the lower ball joint assembly and the steering knuckle weren't lined up, and I couldn't get it to budge with leverage. After some standing around and thinking, I tried wedging a bolt in and using the steering wheel to push the ball joint over. It worked, but it worked too well. I'd pushed it too far. I tried turning the steering wheel the other way to try and get it back into place. Oh, it's gone too far the other way now. I can see where it's supposed to sit. I started going back and forth with a lot of really small adjustments, trying to get everything lined up. It took a really long time, but finally I got it. I torqued it down to 100 foot-pounds, which is as high as my torque wrench would go. Alright, I finally got it after a lot of effort, a lot of going back and forth, and it's in. What I'm going to do is I've got this little paint marker. Amazingly, I carry one of these but not a spare bolt. I'll carry some spares in the future. Use this little paint pen to mark where it's at, and then I'm going to check it every few miles just to make sure it's not backing out at all. Alright, 6 episodes of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse later. I'm sweaty, I'm dirty, and I think it's fixed. At least the bolt's been sent home. So I'm gonna run it for a bit and check it for a bit. I was really paranoid about losing the bolt somewhere along the road, so I stopped often to check it, starting after just a quarter mile, then a half mile, then after each mile, before finally getting the confidence to go a few miles at a time after it hadn't moved at all. It's been about 2.5 hours since I fixed the problem there, so it's getting late in the day. It's about 5:30 now. It's actually past the little guy's dinner time, but I've given him some extra snacks earlier, so I think he's doing okay. But now I've got to head over to Payson to get some gas. Way behind schedule, but airing up, because I think it's about 40 miles from here down to Payson. And because it's so late, I think we'll get dinner in Payson. There's a really highly rated pizza restaurant down there, so we'll grab some pizza. He loves it, so we'll be making it up to him for such a late dinner. What are you doing?
Uh-oh.
Let's get you in the jammies. Last night was obviously a late night coming in, and we ended up in this, I guess it's a horse corral. Not really anything great, but it was a good chance, since it's so dark, to use the new Devos Light Ranger that I've got behind me. This is the 2000. It's brighter, lasts longer, has color changing built into it, and has what everyone's been asking for, which is Bluetooth connectivity on the phone app, so I can control it with my phone. This thing's pretty sweet, but it only lights up down. Wait, that doesn't make sense. It only lights down, not up. So I didn't realize we parked right underneath a huge set of power lines. So not the best campsite in the world, but it did the job, and it was quiet, that's all I really need. But now, this morning, I've got to take the wheel off again. I looked up the torque specs for that bolt that I put on yesterday, and it was 194 foot-pounds, and my torque wrench only goes up to 100, which at the time I assumed was enough. So I went into town last night and bought a new torque wrench from Harbor Freight, and we're going to torque that this morning. And once again, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse saves the day. He's in there, just happy as can be. Have you ever tightened a bolt only for it to suddenly get looser? Yeah, that's what happened to me. Unfortunately, when I was trying to torque the bolt down, I think I stripped out the last few threads in there in this aluminum knuckle, and the bolt is just spinning freely. It hasn't dropped out, and it's still kind of holding everything in place where it needs to, but I think as soon as I start driving down the road, it will fall out. The vibrations will bring it out. So what I've done is a really cheap fix for now. I've wrapped duct tape around and then put this little roller cam strap, and these roller cam straps are amazing. They hold really well, and all that's doing is holding that bolt in place, so they don't actually need to be strong. They just need to stop it from dropping out, and as long as that bolt is held there in place, this isn't going anywhere. So I think that's going to be enough for me to get back to the highway, back to pavement, where I'm going to have a tow truck come pick me up and take me over to Summit 4x4. Thankfully, I already know them well, because that's where we had to take Sean's Jeep last year when his broke down on this same route. So yeah, just got to get everything back together. I probably could drive this all the way to Summit, but it's 70 miles, and I'm just not sure I want to do that. My wife was driving down from Flagstaff to pick up me and my son, and the tow truck was on the way from Prescott to pick up the truck, so we had some time to kill. A couple of hours later, the truck was loaded up and sent on its way to Summit 4x4. We've just dropped off the truck at Summit 4x4 here in Prescott, Arizona. They're going to get to it on Monday. It's Friday night today. So we've got a couple of days to kill, and I think I'm going to take my boy someplace fun to make up for him not getting to go camping this weekend with me. Our first stop was a giant hole in the ground, the meteor crater near Flagstaff, which, while cool to see, really wasn't worth their extortionate entry fees. We also visited Walnut Canyon and did the Island Trail hike, which we really enjoyed. The hike takes you halfway down the canyon and is worth doing for the views alone, but also takes you past 25 cliffside Pueblo houses that are over 700 years old. Finally, we also took my son to the Out of Africa Wildlife Park, where he was fascinated by all of the exotic animals. Alright, so today is Monday. We dropped it off on Friday. The park came in this morning. Let's see how things are going here at Summit 4x4. The thread in the steering knuckle had been completely torn apart by someone hitting it with an impact, so the entire thing had to be replaced.
I've seen it before. It's because they went to aluminum on these. They used to be steel.
Yeah.
And they're very easy, especially so a lot of, like in the old steel ones, it was fine. You could just start it with an impact and send it in. It would be no big deal.
Yeah.
If you do that on these, it very easily can cross thread and just completely destroy the threads.
Well, things are looking good. I think it'll be wrapped up in no time at all. In the meantime, I'm showing my boy around the parking lot and he's admiring all these vehicles out here. And then we should be on the road.
Oh,